Millions of South Africans live below or barely above the poverty line, and tough times have a knock-on effect on their pets. Phoenix Animal Care and Treatment is an NGO that's actively involved in animal welfare in the area, and Eastern Mosaic went to see the volunteers in action.
Eastern Mosaic had arranged to meet the packed volunteers at a suburban veterinary clinic in Durban.
The past few years have been rough on our pockets, with average South Africans having to tighten their belts to almost breaking point. This has also meant that our pets have to make do with a shrinking part of our budget, and NGOs and NPOs receive far less support from the public. Phoenix Animal Care and Treatment, or PACT, is a non-profit organization that's dedicated to caring for and treating animals in the area. Eastern Mosaic has come to see what the volunteers are up to.
Kajal was joined by Ramona Casavan on this assignment.
Population growth isn't exclusively a human problem. The pet population can grow uncontrollably if not managed. PACT is facing up to this issue by taking a more proactive approach.
Puppies are cute, but they need care.
As an NPO, PACT cannot offer people a job or any material incentive. The members here do what they do purely because they feel an inner drive to do so. With me is the chairperson of the organization, Lynette Naidu, and she's going to tell us more about the organization. Lynette, welcome to Eastern Mosaic.
Thank you.
What are some of PACT's main objectives and activities?
We want to be the voice of those who cannot speak for themselves. You know, that animal who's wandering the streets and doesn't know where his next meal is coming from. We feed, we spay, we neuter, just so that we can try and curb the massive problem we've got with breeding in our area.
Tell us a little bit more about your members.
We've got 3 founding members, Nireshni Naidu, Cheryl Reddy and myself. We have been involved in a personal capacity in rescuing animals for many, many years now.
Now, what are some of the main challenges you face?
Firstly, it's the lack of education in our area when it comes to animal care. People don't know simple things like you have to vaccinate your animal. They don't know it's illegal to not vaccinate your animal against something like rabies. We come across people who are desensitized to an animal in suffering. I can talk about one case that we had where a dog had been run over and his leg was broken, but all the owner did was tie him to his kennel and leave him like that for 3 months. When we eventually found him, his leg had to be amputated. We removed him from that home, and he's now living a very, very good life.
How do you go about getting funding and sponsorship for PACT?
At the moment, we rely a lot on donations. We get a lot of contributions from people outside of our community. We also do quite a few fundraisers.
At the moment, what is your relationship like with the community?
To be honest, at the moment, we really get no support from our community. Well, very little support from our community.
Where would you like to see PACT in the near future?
We'd like to service a greater area if we had capacity. We'd like to have more volunteers. We really need a vehicle. Ideally, we would love to have our own premises where we can build a shelter and keep these animals with us.
And finally, do you have a message for our viewers at home?
If you can help us, if you can provide animal care, if you can foster, help us with funds, anything really, we need your help. Remember, if you walk by and do nothing, then you're actually contributing to the problem.
As willing as the volunteers may be to put their time and energy into PACT, there are areas that require specialized knowledge and skill. This is where the vet comes in. Today we're here to talk to Dr. Renardi, who's going to treat Brandy, a rescue dog.
I'm Brandy. Hello, Brandy. 1, 2, 3. Okay. He's picked up weight. The lumps haven't got bigger.
Dr. Renardi, tell us more about Brandy.
Brandy has quite a long history with us. He's a young dog. He came in not well initially. We weren't sure what was going on with him, and he suddenly developed very large lumps, which we then took samples off and sent to the lab, and it came back as a very aggressive tumour. PACT, they seem to go the extra mile with dogs, and they weren't happy just to euthanize him. And he's actually exceeded expectations. These lumps haven't grown much further. He's a happy dog and he's doing well.
What do you think of the work that PACT does?
I'm very impressed. But it's really great having someone that each little animal really seems to be very important.
What do you think other vets can do to help organizations like this?
What we do is we do special rates for for animal welfare, so they're not obviously charged private rates, so it makes it a lot more affordable. So I think a lot of vets would be happy to do that.
It's not only dogs who benefit from Pact's care.
Little. Hello. Is he blind?
Yeah. He's going to be blind for the rest of his life. He was found in a tavern with severe snuffles. And
What is snuffles?
Snuffles is like cat flu. It can be very detrimental. A lot of kittens actually die from snuffles. This is one of the lucky cases, actually.
Shame. So will he be okay?
He's not going to have any sight, so we're going to have to find him a very special home.
Facilitating veterinary care is just part of Pact's mission, and we headed off to see them in action on home turf. If they spot an animal in danger, neither traffic nor weather will slow the volunteers down.
Pact is an organization that assists all animals in distress, and today we're going to visit some of the animals in their homes.
The first home we're visiting today is the home of Randy, who you've recently just met. We're going to visit her owners as well as her friend Libby, who was also rescued by Pact.
Is flies always a problem?
A lot of the flies lay eggs into their ears, especially because it's easy to go to, and then there's a lot of infection all over their body. So then luckily we have a nifty spray that we use.
Now, how did you become involved in Pact?
We came across a small puppy and she was covered in sores and blood, and we didn't have anywhere to take her, so we rushed her to the vet, and we had to pay a fee that night, which was I think 800 Rand, and then we realized no one had that kind of money, and if people were finding strays in Phoenix and they had nowhere to take them, we needed to form something where when people found animals, they'd have someone to call.
What are some of your most memorable moments?
Actually, horrific moments. It's when we came across this little dog named Boston. He was standing with his intestines hanging out, with the maggots falling out of him. And his owners had left him like that for days. We had to send him to eternal peace after that. But I would never forget that. And the owners just assumed that there was nothing wrong with them keeping an animal like this. Something that I can't fathom.
What would you say is most satisfying and most difficult about working at Pact?
I'd say the most difficult is when we have to put a dog to sleep. But the best would be when you find a home. And those dogs are so well kept and they're so happy, and those kittens have grown. That's the best.
Some of the animals that the volunteers encounter are in a sad way, but this isn't always as a result of willful neglect. Some of the owners themselves are struggling to survive with little or nothing left to spare for their pets.
I can't imagine my life without them being a part. And at the moment, we was homeless recently, and these people, they took us in with our dogs. And I really appreciate them for it.
South Africans have been forced to do some soul-searching in the past few months, with some horrific cases of violence against women and children. There's no question that we need to appreciate the value of compassion. Perhaps we should start doing that by treating our animals differently. And this makes the work of Pact all the more relevant.